Hey, everybody. I'm Nate Talkerman, partner manager here at Procore. We're here to talk about current trends and challenges many contractors are facing around material management and, more importantly, how that impacts your projects. There's a lot to cover in these next 15 minutes, but we will dive deeper into some of these topics in our webinar series coming soon after we're done here. Joining me here today is Or Lakritz, founder of StructShare, and Josh Bone, executive director at Electri International. Do you mind sharing a few sentences about yourself, Or?
Sure. So thank you for having me today, talking with you out of Israel, founder of StructShare with the mission of helping specialty contractors ace their material management and procurement workflows. My background was in the elite special forces and product and marketing strategy and digital transformation.
Yeah, and my name is Josh Bone. I've been around the industry for almost 24 years now. Started out in 3D modeling back in the late 90s, long before the term BIM was being used, and grew up through my career starting with 3D modeling, and that branched out from like so many things does from BIM into mobile apps and other things. And I still identify as a construction technologist at heart, but I've been running the Electri Foundation. We're the R&D firm foundation for the electrical contracting profession as a whole. So, been doing that for the past 2 years, and really enjoy what I'm doing here.
Great, fantastic. Pleasure to have both of you here. Really appreciate you joining us. A real gift to get two folks like yourself engaged. Or let's start with you. What can you tell us about material management and why is this so important for the construction industry?
So, I'm here in the past 5 years. I'm not a legacy construction guy. Actually, my partner is. But what I felt starting coming to the US and understanding what's going on in the industry, we really fast identified a crazy void in the entire supply chain management, procurement management, etc. Material management is the core of every project, both in cost, 30 to 50% of every project cost is materials, and it relates and impacts every aspect of the project, if it's timelines, quality, delays, etc. I think it's one of the last areas across the construction process which is really lagged behind, and I think that when we'll see improvements and efficiency, the entire both project management and estimation and every aspect will be accelerated and improved. So in addition, it really impacts every stakeholder, both the GC and trades and developers, suppliers, of course. So I think it's a crazy thing that we'll see in the next few years, going to boom with efficiencies, etc.
Yeah, it's really true, right? That this is the stuff that the owners are actually buying, right? The material that's left behind after we're all gone, and so that the attention that we pay, it should be of primary importance, right? Uh, Josh, in your experience, what are some of the major challenges that you've seen around this?
Well, one thing is it has been primarily labor because there's one person. Typically, the field is managing that labor, and it's one point of contact. With materials, you start as early as your takeoffs and accounting, and you start dealing with the field, and then if you've got a fab shop, and you've got all of these different silos that material gets, it's hard to manage it from one stream to the next, and looking at that value flow. So I think that's why you've seen the focus around managing labor more so around materials, because there hasn't been that consistency. It touches so many different aspects of the business. But what we've seen through the pandemic now, that material prices and escalations that we've seen in such short periods of time, where our contracts a lot of times took into consideration a price increase of 5%. We've seen price increases now. I bid on a job, I'm awarded that job, and 10 months from now, I'm ready to go purchase wire for that job, and the cost is 30% more or 60% more. And it has created a real sense of urgency around material management over the past few months, and it's impacting small, medium, large. Every contractor is getting impacted by this, and see it as an opportunity to how they can grow and mature in their process and better, more efficiently run their businesses.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen COVID accelerate a lot of things that companies are doing that maybe we planned to do or the industry was interested in, but it just moved it up substantially, right? So it's not necessarily a new problem; it's just a having to be addressed sooner. Um, or I'm curious to hear your thoughts here. Why do you think these continue to remain a challenge in the industry?
So first of all, I must relate to what you guys said. I completely agree. We see a increasingly crazy need and more awareness for solutions in the space from all stakeholders and construction tech players, etc. I think naturally the evolution of the construction industry, like every industry, construction tech, sorry, is started with solutions for more office-oriented, tech-savvy developers and general contractors. Like you see that Procore started with that these stakeholders, and specifically material and procurement is more focused on the specialty trades, which are legacy unaddressed with solutions. And now we're starting to see really a lot of companies, solutions, content, even education focus on helping specialty contractors with the understanding that at the end they are the ones that are building the buildings and they're one of the most important players within the entire value chain.
Yeah, and uh, some other, or I'd say another critical piece of kind of what you're describing that I want to add to that is the impact that the technology has on connecting the office and the field, and we're talking about the different stakeholders, but even within the business, and I think it's important to note that this information exchange that's happening is really a two-way street, right? It's not about delivering information to the field or receiving it only. It's a back and forth, and so being able to provide, if we think about the field, right, the tools, the information, the material to enable production as a starting point, it's the field's ability to communicate what they need or things preventing that production. It's just as important. And when multiple workflows across those multiple stakeholders, across multiple companies, are all being done in a single platform, and whether that's Procore or an integrated partner solution like StructShare uh, I think that the resolution happens exponentially faster. And that's just going to save you time, money, injuries. And I think of applying this stuff to like a trade stacking and what's stopping you there, or like your material management plan of where are we going to lay out and receive this stuff, this last mile delivery information that we're all trying to close the loop on, and in back order quantity. I mean, I could go on and on here, but uh, payments against invoices not fully received, that affects financials, and really at the end of the day, when we do this successfully, the results are going to be higher profits, happier employees, project positive schedules, and installs ultimately for the client. Josh, walk us through, sort of some of the impacts that you're seeing specifically on the electrical side of the industry relating to some of the stuff I just mentioned.
Yeah, I want to make sure all those things that you mentioned there are great because that's what construction's all about, buying and selling risk. And that risk is
Mhm.
is being pushed down to the specialty contractors a lot more now. And the things that you just mentioned, Nate, are those things that they have to do a better job managing. So you've got expectations that have changed from the owner's standpoint. I see this as a real opportunity, just like with prefab and the opportunity that was there. Material management can really open up a number of opportunities to how you can sell your position and from across the board. I really believe there's an opportunity here to educate the owners, to educate the general contractors, the trade stacking. If you can really manage your materials and streamline a lot of these processes, it's going to ensure your ability to increase your margins because you're getting in on time. You're starting to lean up, and the way that you handle materials, your ability to sell all this is a big deal. We've got one of our contractors I've been working with. He brought on a productivity manager, and what resulted from that was an owner that can measure. We have our manual labor units, so they can go in and they can measure productivity. And some of these larger, more sophisticated owners go out and say, "Hey, what's wrong? Why are you at such a low productivity rate?" So this owner of this company says, "We got to figure this out." You know what they found in a very short period of time? It was material management that was touching all these other aspects that was really impacting their productivity. So they realize, okay, how do we streamline this and to make sure that there is a handoff in these materials? How do we get better visibility into what we're buying across jobs? It's I think this is a sign of a maturing industry that we're really in these initial stages of industrialization.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, what I heard there is field production and labor production tracking is really the execution on planning, right? And the material management plan is making sure that you're prepared to execute as efficient as possible. It's really strong.
Thank you for making it sound so much better, Nate.
I love that this can be a super tactical conversation, right? Like that you can use those examples to say that we're having these very like in the weeds workflow adjustments, but it still has a huge impact, right? And it's these little things that are actually quite big. Or now, before we wrap up here, I'd like to get both of your thoughts actually on the future of the industry. What are we expecting to see given what we know right now about material management and technology?
So I think the first step is like you just both of you said, it's starting small, not talking about general strategies, and even taking a step into prefabrication. It's only simplifying and digitizing the workflows and increasing collaboration and communication between the field, the office, and the suppliers. I think that's the key, because that's what will enable, first of all, to access data, and that will facilitate frictionless communication, improvement, measurement, efficiency in general. So I think when I see the future is, first of all, digitization of the workflow and communication, and later on utilizing on top of this a lot of things and providing a lot of values to the different stakeholders.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this. This is not going out on a limb. This is not some major prediction that I'm making here. We have other industries to look to with agriculture, and we saw the growth in mergers and acquisitions. We're seeing that right now in construction. We also saw decades ago in manufacturing, we saw how they shifted from worrying about labor first to materials first in the manufacturing industry. That we're looking to these other industries as we industrialize. These are the this is what we're shooting for. This is where we're going. I personally believe that material management is going to start to trump labor. I think we've got to find ways of in this industry. If you look at the curve and our ability to recruit into the industry, we are employing fewer people today than we were in 2007. We've got to find ways of doing more with less and being more efficient. With these materials and looking at our suppliers and our partners and manufacturers, educating owners why they don't need to be buying some of these things, because you're going to increase our ability to handle these materials and deliver them just in time. We've got the ability from electrical contractors, mechanical contractors. That's risk. Let us manage that risk. Let's be more transparent in how we do this, because we have a better foothold on how we do it. So let's show you how we do it. Let's build trust. And industry is industrializing, guys. It's happening. And this is a step in that process of how we better manage our materials. It's going to be a significant competitive advantage for the contractors that figure this out first.
I agree. I love that. Great information, both of you. Or seeing how technology plays such a big role for contractors, what would you say to an organization who doesn't have a material management strategy in place today?
So, because we don't have a lot of time, I won't elaborate too much, but be straightforward. I think that, first of all, strategy, as I said, is a too big word. It's really just simplifying the processes and communication. And from someone that came from outside, but is 5 years living with the contractors, I think it's a must. I think it's an absurd that such a significant factor of the entire business and project is treated in like just unaddressed. And I think that it's just a must, and we'll see a crazy increase in first of all solutions, but also contractors that are implementing the easy low-hanging fruits of improving the material management and procurement.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for taking the time to sit down and talk with me today about this. For the folks listening to our live stream today, if you want to learn more about Procore, StructShare, or Electri International, you can scan the QR codes that'll be displayed on your screen. And be sure to watch out for our upcoming webinar series soon, where we'll dive deeper into some of the challenges and impacts that you heard today. And we'll see you then.